video, we're gonna see how to create a voice recorder using Python, and we're gonna build the GUI application. So let me show you the demo first. You consider this the GUI application that we're gonna build in this video. Consider here we have the start recording. When we click on start recording, here this is Python tutorial for voice recorder, and when we click on stop recording, it will be stopped. You consider the output is saved as output.wav file. We can listen to the audio file now. So let me close this application. You consider here we have a output.wav file. Let me play this output.wav file for you. Hey, this is Python tutorial for voice recording. Consider it is recording now. So let us see how to create this voice recorder using Python, and we're gonna build this GUI application as well. So let's get started. So I have this Python files here. So let's first install all the required libraries that we need for this project. So let's open up your command prompt, and in the command prompt, just type the following commands. Pip install, we need the Tkinter as usual, and we need the sci-fi to save the recorder audios, and we need the sound device to record the audio from the user, and finally we need the number. So pip install tk scipy sound device and numpy and press enter. So these are the libraries that we need for this project. You can see the requirement already satisfied. Let me close this. So let's import the libraries that we need for this project. So we need the tkinter, so import tkinter as tk, and let's also import the sound device. So import sound device as sd, and finally we need the numpy, and we also need the wave file, that is the scipy. So finally we're going to import the scipy. So from scipy.io.wave file, we're going to import the write function. So using this write function, we're going to save the recorder audios. So we need the write function. So that's it. These are the libraries that we need. And finally, we need a threading. So because we're going to use the multiprocessing. Consider these are the libraries. So sound device is used to record the audios, and scipy is used to save the recorder audios. So let's build the interface now. So when we will first build the interface, then we're going to build the functionality. So that's why we have imported the tkinter. So let's define a window now. So read equal to tk dot, we're gonna call the tk class. So now we got the root window, right? So we can set a title. So root dot title, just give you a title for your window. In this case, voice recorder. Now when you run this, so let me run this now. When you run this, you consider nothing happens because when we run this, nothing happens because it will run it and it just finish instantly, because we haven't used a loop. So if you want to stay the window for long time until we close that, we have to use a loop called the main loop. So root dot main loop. And when we run this now, you consider now the window stays. You consider here we have a window pop up. So let's try to change the size of this window. Currently it is very small. So root dot configure. So we're gonna set this height 400 by 300. So 400 x 300. So let's try to run this now. Now the window will be huge. So we got a error. I think this is not configured. This is geometry, root the geometry. So let me change this to geometry. So let's try to run this now. Here you can see now the window size is pretty good. So let's try to close this. And we can also change the background color as well. So root that configure. So inside this background equal to b is equal to, here we have to specify the hex value. So I have a hex value in my notepad. So let me copy this hex value. So let me copy this and paste it here. So the default value is white. I'm also using the white here, so the color will not be changed. If you want to change the background, you can also change this by using a different hex values. So now we have configured it. So let's try to place the elements now. So first we're gonna place the title label. So like tk.label, we're gonna use the label class. So tk.label. So what window you want to place it? So we're gonna place it inside the root. So pass the root, and text equal to, here provide the text. So this is voice recorder. So this is our text, and we can provide the font now. So the font that we're gonna use in this video is the Helvetica. So let me type the font name Helvetica. So this is our font name, and we can also specify the font size. So let's try to give 30 as our font size, and we want it to be bold. And finally we can give the background color as well. So I have a background color called the, so we can give white as a background color. So let me copy this and paste it here. So now we have defined the title, right? We can run this Python script to see if the title is appear in our window or not. So let's try to run this now. Consider the title is not appear in our window because we have to manually place it. So title label dot back. The back will automatically place the title on the window. So let's try to run this now. Consider here we have a voice recorder. Now the title has been placed successfully. We can give a padding to this title now. So let's try to give the padding now. So we're gonna give the pad y. So we're gonna give the padding on the vertical axis. I'm giving 20 now. So let's try to run this. You consider now we have a space above the voice recorder. So now we got the title right. We can define the two buttons. That is the start button as well as the stop button. So start button equal to this will be tk dot button. So we're gonna put the button on the root window and the text will be start recording. And for the font, so let me type start recording. And for the font, we can give the same font as well as the title label. So what I'm gonna do is let me copy this because I'm gonna use the same font now. So let me copy this and paste it here. And for the background, I have a color in my notebook. So I'm gonna give a green color for the start button. So let me copy this and paste it here. I'm gonna give you a green color. Let's also pack it. So the pack function, what it will do is it will pack all the elements one by one. So let's try to run this. So we got a error. So we have a space and the hex value. So let's try to remove the space. Now you consider here we have a space. Let me remove it and let's try to run this now. Here you can see now we have a button called the voice recording. And when we click on the button, nothing happens because we haven't specified anything. Consider nothing happens when we click the button. So we will deal with this later. But first, let's build the interface. Let me close this. Now we have the start button, right? We can also give a padding to the start button as well. So pad y equal to, we can give 20 as well, or we can give 10. So let me run this. Consider here we have a padding and we can copy and paste it for the stop button as well. So let me paste it here. So let me change the start button to stop button. Let me copy this and paste it here. Let's also change the text to stop recording. So that's it. And we can change the background to red now. So let me copy this hex value and paste it here. So this is the hex value for red. And let's try to run this now. Consider now we got the two buttons, start recording and stop recording. And what we can do is we can put a label called the status. Before that, we can also increase the geometry now. So 700 by 500. Now when we run this, it will be of height 700 and width 500. So let me close this first, then only we can run it again. You consider now it is good. We have a width of 700 and height of 500. So let me close this. So we can put a status label as well. So what is happening behind the scenes, like stop recording, then it will record. So status label equal to, so we're gonna use the label again. So tk dot label. So we're gonna put the label on the root window and the text will be press start button to record. So this is our status now. Press start button to record and the font will be, we can copy and paste the same font now. Let me copy this font and paste it here. This is our font. What we can do is we can decrease the fonts if you want. So before that, background equal to, I'm going to use the same background as white and paste it here. We can change it font style to 14 and let me run this. So we got a error. So I have misspelled the text. So let me change the text spelling. So we have missed the pack function. So let's try to put the label on the window now. So let me close this because we have not packer now. So status label that pack. So let's also give you a padding now. So pad y equal to, so this is pad y, not pad x. And when we run this, so consider here we have a status button, start button to record. Press start button to record and all the buttons are pressable, but it is not working. So let's try to fix that now. So let me close this. What we can do now is we can start build the functionality. So let's try to do that now. I'm going to define two variables now, global variables. So let's try to define now is recording equal to false. Initially, I'm going to set this variable to false and I'm going to maintain a list called the recorder data. This will store all the data. So this is empty list and I'm going to create a function called the start recording. This function, so inside this function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the two variables, that is global variables. So I'm going to specifically define that. So global I'm gonna mention is recording. I'm using the global variable. That's why I have mentioned global is recording and global recorded data. So since when we start the recording, we can change the recording variable to true, and let's also change the recorded data to empty list again. If we have any data, we're gonna remove that and change this to empty data again. So I'm gonna use a threading now because we are using the multiprocessing. So threading dot thread, I'm gonna call the function called the record. So you have to create this function. So I'm gonna create it in a minute. So we're gonna start this function. So what we can do is we can create the function now. So def record, initially we can pause. So let me define that function, and we can call that function now by using this start function. So when we click on the start button, it will record by changing the is recording variable to true, and also creating any recorded data to false and redefine it. And finally, we're gonna call the record function. So we're gonna work on the record function now. You can see that we can also change the label now. So instead of press start button to record, we can change the label to recording. So status label dot configure. So we're gonna change the text to recording so that the user can know it is recording. So I'm gonna change the status label to recording, and finally we can work on the record function now. So before that, what we can do is we can define the stop recording function as well, because here we have the recording, right, is recording and recorded data. So let's try to define the stop recording as well. So the stop recording function again will take global variable as well. So we're gonna get the global variable. So when we click on the stop recording, what we have to do is we have to change the is recording to false. So we have to change the is recording to false again because it is not recording now. Then what we have to do is we have to change the label, that is the status label. So we are gonna change the status label to recording stop. So that's it. Now we can work on the recording function now. So we can work on this function. So what we can do is, so let me remove this pause statement. I'm going to use the global variable again, that is recorded data, because we are interested in getting the recorded data only. So global recorded data, and let's first specify the sample rate. So that is, you can take it as a bit rate. So sample rate equal to, I'm gonna provide the standard sample rate that is used across the industry, that is the 4400. So this is the standard rate that is used in every voice recorders, and we can provide the duration. So I'm gonna set the duration to 1 because we're gonna use a while loop. So that's why I have mentioned the duration to 1. Each second we're gonna use the while loop. So while is recording, so while the recording is true, we're gonna continuously take the audio, because when we click on the start button, the recording will be true. So that's why we are using the while loop. And when the user press the stop recording, the recording will be false. And while is recording, what we can do is we can record the audio. So data equal to, for this we have this function called the sound device. So st dot sound device dot record, that is the rec. So we're gonna multiply the duration times sample rate. We have to multiply the duration times sample rate, and we have to convert it into an integer. And finally we have to provide the sample rate equal to, this will be our sample rate, and channels equal to 2. We're gonna use the 2 channels, that is the mono as well as we have the 2 channels. Now we have the data, right? What we can do is we can append the data. So before that, we can wait for 1 second, and we can append the data to the recorder variable, that is the recorder list, recorder data that append, we're gonna append the data. So finally when the while loop ends, then what we can do is when the while loop ends, that is if the user has stopped the recording, so we check if there is any data, that is if recorded data, then we're gonna get the full recording. So np.concurrent, that's why the numpy comes into picture, because each second we are appending the data. Now we're gonna concatenate all the seconds to get the full recording. So full recording equal to np.concatenate. So we're gonna concatenate the recorded data on the axis 0, that is we're gonna concatenate row wise. And finally we can write it now. So just give your name for your output that wave, and we have to pass the full recording and so as the sample rate. So sample rate, this is our sample rate, and this will take the full recording, that is the full record that we got after we concatenate. And that's it. We can change the status label if you want. So status label dot configure. text equal to, what we can do is we can print say a message like saved as output dot wave file. You can check it there. So check it out. So that's it. Wait, let me run this Python script now. You consider now also when we click on start recording, nothing works because we have to specify it. When we click on this start button, we have to specify what function to call. So to do that, command equal to, when we click on, what we have to do, when we click on, we have to call the start recording button. So consider start recording function. When we click on the start button, it will call this function called the start recording. So command equal to start recording. We also have to do this for the stop recording. So consider here you have the stop recording button, and we have to provide the command equal to, when we click on this, we have to call the stop recording function. So here we have the stop recording. So that's it. Now we can run it now. This time it should work because when we click on this, it will call the function. So let me run this now. I have pressed the start recording. Here this is Python tutorial for voice recorder. Consider it is recording, and when we click on stop recording, it will be stopped. Consider now the output as saved as output.wave file. So let me close this. Consider here we have a output file. So let me click on this and let me increase the sound now. So let me increase the sound to full core. Hey, this is Python tutorial for voice recording. Consider it is recording now. And when we click on the stop recording button, it will stop. Consider now we got the recording as well. So this is how you create a voice recorder using Python, and we have the GUI application as well. So if you want to customize this, you can also customize the like playing the recorder voice in the GUI application itself. You can customize it. I will provide the source code in the description. You can check that out. So this is for this video, and I will continue in the next one.